What we've done here is establish a place where we have control over who our neighbors are, and that is just for the sake of preserving, our culture.
And that culture, effectively, we're saying this is a white culture, a whites-only place.
White American culture.
Over the last year and a half, high up in the Ozark Hills in the state of Arkansas, dozens of people have been working hard, leveling the land, building houses. They call it an intentional community based around shared ancestry, a long-winded way of saying something really quite simple.
I think we would generally be called far-right, sure.
It's called Return to the Land, and they invited me in.
A lot of people are going to be, why are you making Nazi references?
Right. Well, why wouldn't I?
A seemingly bucolic and sometimes surreal experience. But this is built on a radical modern premise, made possible because of a new political and technological moment. One with strong ties to the most active far-right groups in the US. Instead of taking to the streets, they are building their own, for generations to come.
It's important for me to do this for my ancestors, my friends, my family, my children, my children's children.
But in this southern US state, people who have lived through segregation once fear it is returning.
When you hear things like that, it causes you to be fearful, and you don't know who to trust.
Its founder says he is building a fortress for the white race.
It's a racial association. I kind of want to ask you, after seeing this, do you think what we're doing is immoral?
Arkansas, in the southern United States.
Welcome to Little Rock, where the local time is 4:27.
For the last few years, I've been exploring how an ethno-nationalist movement has been organising online. A network that aims to define countries by ethnicity, but which links across borders. And this is the place that one group has chosen to put that into radical, real-world action.
You want a white nation? Build a white town. It can be done, and we're doing it.
It is an extreme view, but it draws on more familiar arguments. That mass immigration is out of control, that Western societies are in danger of losing their fundamental character as a result.
So one of the arguments here is that this isn't about persecution of an ethnic identity, but protection of an ethnic identity, and that identity happens to be white. So we're going here now up into these pretty remote woods to really put that to the test.
We are driving deep into the Ozark Mountains. The group's leaders are not from Arkansas, and they've chosen these remote parts for a reason. All the locals I spoke to knew only a little about the group, if anything.
I don't necessarily agree with it, but that's not my choice.
Yeah, but do you think they should have the freedom to do it?
That's what they want to do.
I think it's kind of a little fishy around here, but just be safe.
The leader of the group is called Eric Orwell, and he's invited me to spend a few days with them.
Hey, Eric.
He insists what he is doing here is entirely legal, and that's key. Because if it is, it could be a blueprint for many other communities to come.
Welcome to the Ozarks.
Thank you very much.
What we've done here is establish a place where we have control over who our neighbors are, and that is just for the sake of preserving, our culture.
And that culture, effectively, we're saying this is a white culture, a whites-only place.
White American culture. Yeah, not just white, but white American.
But what this sounds like is bringing back segregation. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, it's free association. So we're not trying to keep other people down. This is a small settlement in the middle of the Ozarks.
But they are being kept out.
You don't let everyone into your home.
160 acres taking shape, forest cleared, roads laid, cabins built. Around 40 people live here. Hundreds more from across the world have paid to be members. And I'm intrigued to find out what motivates people to give up their old lives for this.
We met here.
Oh, you met here? Okay, so you came here.
I met her on like day 3.
Oh my God, what a story. It beats Tinder, doesn't it? Like.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
David and Caitlin not only met here, they got married last month. And they wouldn't be here without social media.
Somebody had posted a video of Eric.
Yeah.
I saw videos of them actually building stuff on the land. I was like, oh man, I gotta come check this out.
And I figure if there's nothing else like this in the country, like it should at least exist.
Yeah.
Like, do people really think that we should never be able to choose our neighbors?
It wouldn't be controversial for any other racial group to do the same thing.
I think it'd be quite controversial.
Well, if you don't have rules against it, then, anyone of any race can come and be your neighbor, and they're watching the news, which is telling you that white people are, the cause of all your problems and all the ills of society, and suddenly, your children are much less safe because there's a lot of violence, anti-white violence happening to white people and white children, and so
Specifically sort of motivated by racism against white people. What sort of things the heavens are about to...
yeah.
I'd like to continue talking, but the rain starts and it comes down hard. The residents shelter in their cabins and night falls. The next morning. This is how the average weekend works at Return to the Land, or RTTL, what they call a work party, made up of residents, but also new recruits who have come to check out the project. It is hot, hard work. To join RTTL, you have to sign up to the Private Members Association, or PMA. And there are strict criteria for membership, as Scott Thomas, a board member, and one of the founding fathers here, explains.
You have to be a PMA member to live here.
Yeah.
So you have to be someone of European heritage.
The group's logo, based on a Nordic rune, draws on that heritage. It is the PMA that the group believes makes this all legal. Once members have been vetted on ethnicity and other grounds, they can buy shares in the Limited Liability Company, or LLC. Those shares translate to acres of land that they can build on. Peter Seri is the brains behind the legal side of things.
Civil Rights Act is there for a reason, and this is a way around it.
Yeah.
Do you think it'll survive contact with the legal system, the courts, if it came to that?
Hopefully.
Do you think it's racist or not? Do you reject that term? Do you embrace it?
I don't know about that term. I mean, people use it in a lot of different ways. I'm sure there's a lot of people on the internet who would call me racist. I don't really know or care whether that term applies to me or not. Maybe.
Scott, what do you think?
Yeah, I almost don't know what racist means anymore. Like it's you call it racist.
There's a prejudice towards someone who's from a different ethnicity.
Well, actually, the modern definition of racism, according to critical race theory, all white people are racist automatically.
A lot of this is reaction to left-wing identity politics, critical race theory, and movements like Black Lives Matter. And fundamentally, this is identity politics, but white identity politics. And what they're building here is a safe space for people of European ancestry.
It's exclusionary, it's sort of an attempt at segregation.
Right.
Is that fair?
Probably.
While the men labour at the roadside, the women of Return to the Land are at work too, looking after the 6 children who live and are homeschooled here full-time. And they're preparing food for the weekly community dinner. The theme tonight, colonial.
I don't know, dinner's really important. I like feeding people, so I didn't want to put this off any longer than I already had.
Back in the day, when we first got the land here, there were only about 5 guys. I was living 40 minutes from here, and Jennifer was the first, family to be on the land full time. So we started community dinners back then, and it would be pretty relaxed because there weren't many people. But it is nice. It's slowly growing. So
They've come here to live for a variety of reasons, but their dedication to the mission is absolute.
My name's Nikki, N-I-K-I. I'm 32.
Cool.
I'm a lady.
My name's Allison, Alison. I'm 29.
Right.
And Caitlin, Caitlin. I'm 31.
I think people just have a large misunderstanding of what's happening here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's the biggest misunderstanding?
Well,
that we hate everyone else. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not about that
Yeah,
by any means.
It's a loving movement.
I mean, on that aspect of it being loving, I suppose the counter argument would be it could be a very loving community if you're part of the community, but if you're black, or if you're Jewish, or if you're gay, you can't be part of that community.
They can have their own communities, and they already do, and I think that's great for them. If other people are allowed to do it, I don't really see why whites aren't allowed to do it. It doesn't make any sense.
But the goal is to have lots of these communities, and for it maybe not to be rural, for there to be cities on the same basis, right?
Yeah, that would be neat. I look forward to seeing how this movement grows over time.
There are other ways to increase numbers. Nikki, Caitlin and Allison all met their partners at the community. And RTTL is explicit about this. It has an online fundraiser to give cash rewards to parents of newborns as a means to incentivise population growth. Just before we arrived, they had donated $1,000 to a family for having their 6th child.
Is that part of the mission as well, to sort of have big families, to make the community bigger? Is there a sort of pressure there?
I don't think so. I don't feel particularly myself, I don't feel any pressure to like have a big family. I think there's a kind of expectation here that you do want to, as part of helping grow this thing, that you're going to have kids.
There's not a lot to show around here. I basically just have the whole pasture area.
Peter is unattached. This is his homestead. He's been on a journey. He told me he used to be a liberal, a hippie even.
The knife is a tool. It has to be very sharp in order to cut properly.
He founded a commune in Ecuador, an intentional community based not on ethnicity, but veganism.
So this is your lot?
Yeah.
But he's also immersed in internet culture, someone who delights in provoking reactions, a troll. On the group chat on the messaging app Telegram, he's posted the numbers 1488. The 14 refers to the 14 words, a white supremacist slogan. And H is the 8th letter of the alphabet, so 88 means HH, which means Heil Hitler.
Because you put that in the Telegram, for instance. What does that mean when you place that in Telegram 1488?
Well, I use it as kind of like a funny comment, throwback.
As part of that Nazi discussion, another frequent topic on the online chat is the Holocaust. Usually minimized, sometimes even mocked.
But the Holocaust, stands as a unique crime in the history of
Well, that's your opinion.
Really.
I think the Holodomor was much worse than the Holocaust. That's my opinion. I mean, we're allowed to have opinions.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can say they're both bad. The Holocaust was bad.
But do you know anything about the Holodomor?
Yeah, in Ukraine,
right.
The famine, I know a little bit about it, and I know it was awful too, and
right,
it's sort of deliberate, but we can also agree the Holocaust is bad.
Well, we don't have to say that one was objectively worse than the other.
I'm not saying one. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, like, was the Holocaust a bad thing?
So basically all I'm saying is that I don't really see it as concerning that people are talking about Hitler when it's acceptable, it's publicly, socially acceptable in the United States for leftists to support Chairman Mao.
It's quite difficult to agree on even the very bare minimum here.
It's just interesting, sort of, when we're coming to talking about the Holocaust, it's always about something else. And, I think most people would agree the Holocaust was a bad thing.
Right.
But you're not willing to agree with that.
What, do you want to talk about the whole, I mean, it
fine.
seems like an interesting subject, but...
It is an interesting subject. I also think that was a bad thing, but I think the Holocaust was a bad thing too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, are you asking me a question?
I'm asking you, do you think the Holocaust was bad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the Holocaust was bad.
RTTL is based on exclusion, but that also means building community for those allowed inside. This isn't just for our camera's benefit, to present a veneer of clean, healthy living. It's central to the project. Like many far-right movements before them, RTTL's mission is to show that by excluding others, they can live purer, more natural lives. As they put it on their website, to cultivate wholesomeness, beauty, health, and hope. Let's talk about hope. As much as RTTL might like, they do not exist in a separate world. Pocahontas is the nearest town to the settlement. And hope means something different for Pat Johnson.
I'm Tom.
I'm Pat.
Oh, you're Pat. Lovely to meet you, Pat. How are you?
We met her before we went up into the hills.
It was about 25 students that attended school here.
The whole time, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really tiny. There you are.
Yes.
Second from bottom. How old are you in that photo?
I don't know. I think probably about 12 or 13.
This is the school she attended in the 1950s, a school for black children only, because she was not allowed to be educated with white people. Unlike the members of Return to the Land, she is Arkansas born and bred. For the first 15 years of her life, she lived under segregation.
We could not go to school together. We couldn't eat together. We couldn't do everyday things together. Each day that you leave your home, you were under rejection.
And Pat had hoped those days had gone.
When you hear things like that, it causes you to be fearful, and you don't know who to trust.
When I explain what Return to the Land is doing, just half an hour's drive away, she's not so sure. And in her eyes, there is one main reason for that.
And I feel like that's the change of, and I'm just going to say, I think it's the change of our presidency. That's what I'm going to say, because I feel like that's where the change is. It's allowing people to have the right to be open for hatred.
That may be a feeling, but it is also backed by the data. These are all the white supremacist incidents, demonstrations, leafleting, recruitment drives, meetups over the last 4 years in the US, tracked by ACLED, an organisation that monitors violent conflict and protest. There has been a dramatic increase over that period. It has become a background thrum of nationalist activity. Patriot Front is the most active white nationalist organisation in the US right now, according to ACLED. Its leader is Thomas Rousseau.
Foreign races have never successfully assimilated en masse into American culture and nationality.
And the group has tight links to Return to the Land. Eric and Thomas speak on each other's podcasts and have fast-track membership for both organisations.
Comfy?
Feels good.
Yeah.
It's about time we spoke to Eric.
Less than 50% of children born today in the US are white. I'm white, my kids are white. There is something to your background that informs who you are, your sense of identity. And we don't want that sense of identity being taken away from us involuntarily. So we're taking control of that situation and creating an environment where my kids can celebrate their identity and not have it, threatened from outside, I guess.
But why is that threatening you? Why is that an issue that you've had to address? There will always be white people.
Well, I'm feeling a little nervous now in the interview.
Yeah.
We are forced to accept people into our neighborhoods, into our businesses, and into our lives who won't share our background, who won't share many of our cultural priors, even moral priors. We don't have a rule stating, if you have X amount of non-European ancestry, you're definitely out. In many cases, yeah, that would disqualify someone.
Were I to apply to the PMA and my views were different, I'd probably be allowed in. Do you think that's likely? I know it's a case-by-case basis, but just off the top of your head.
Yeah, possibly we would accept you in the PMA.
I don't understand white American culture, but you'd rather have me in that case. I just wonder, though, whether some people watching this, having heard all this intellectualizing, this rhetoric, would say, fine, but actually at heart, this is just, it is just prejudice, it is just bigotry, it is just lowest common denominator racism dressed up in these arguments.
And I would just question the moral frame. Why is it wrong to identify with your own people, want an integrated culture where you can be yourself?
Just to boil it down to what for you is the definition of racism?
When I was a kid, I suppose I interpreted racism to be judging someone solely on the basis of their race. And is that a good or bad thing? I think this basic moral consensus treats it as automatically a bad thing without a lot of reflection.
This is my last day here, and before I go, I want to speak to John. Not a leader like Eric or Pete or Scott, but an acolyte, a young one and newly arrived. He's only been here a month.
So I'm trying to knock off some of this more good topsoil, give it some more.
We'd seen him when we first came up. He guided us in on his bicycle.
It's just you have a community where you feel like you belong here. You have people you can talk to, and I can't explain it. It's too beautiful. It's nice.
He'd been working on Scott's new house over the weekend. In return for his labour, he gets cheap rent. John dropped out of college, and he's worked jobs all over the United States. He's 26, younger than the leaders who are all in their 30s. If they are the recruiters, he is the perfect recruit. And for John, the primary motivation was financial.
To me, it's economical. It's an economic decision, right? And everything else just kind of falls in line. Yeah. But the main thing to me is cheap land. Everything else is a bonus.
You've got 2 levels here.
Yep. Got a loft up top, and this is the main area.
So living area down here. So it's quite comfy, right?
It is quite comfy. As for excluding people, I don't see it that way. We're trying to embrace our culture and our heritage. It's been denigrated, if you ask me. We've turned into a melting pot of a country for a long time now.
There is one last thing before I go. A concert put on in honor of our visit.
This first piece that Peter and I are performing, it's called The Virginia Colonies by Fred Cooper.
The English governor returned to take his place.
Eric himself takes the stage.
This is a Baroque flute, also known as the German flute or the penny whistle. It was a very popular instrument in colonial America.
It's not easy to look tough with a flute, even if it's German. But the audience is rapt.
Would America be better as a white nation state?
Better in what sense?
Would you prefer, completely blank slate, America is just an ethnically white country?
I would probably feel more comfortable there because I'm white, and that's the way that this country was when my ancestors came here.
You also talk about Hitler in your videos a couple of times when you've talked about people who are waiting around for a new Hitler to come. Mm-hmm. And you said he's not going to show up. You have to do the work for that Hitler to arrive.
Hitler is a very controversial historical figure. I think the mainstream view is one-sided. It's informed by World War II propaganda, but also the contrary position that Hitler did nothing wrong that many people online say, that's also a one-sided view. I think all historical figures are complex, multidimensional, but when I say you're gonna have to wait for that new Hitler to arise, I'm not saying you're gonna have to wait for a new person to start a new Holocaust. I'm saying you're gonna have to wait for a charismatic leader who's going to advocate for your interests, because that's how a lot of people see Hitler. I'm addressing how they think of Hitler, not my own view.
There are other PMAs, other bits of land that are going ahead?
Yeah, there are 2 other groups, actually 3, organizing. One in Appalachia, one in the Pacific Northwest, and then another one here in Arkansas.
So this is the growing movement?
Right now it's growing very quickly. Yeah, we have applicants every week. I would like to see more communities so that people in all parts of the U.S. have this as an option if they want it. I would also like to see us network and branch out internationally to a greater extent.
Is there anything you want to talk about that I haven't asked about?
I kind of want to ask you, after seeing this, do you think what we're doing is immoral?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah?
Yeah. And that's not, for me, it is morally objectionable. I think the way we've talked about it is, I don't think it is like a country club. That's the difference. I don't think this is sort of free association. I think you are depriving people of a fundamental right to housing. That's how I see this issue. And I think the reason I'm asking those questions about where it goes from here, I think that is a thought experiment, but I think if you replicated it large, I think I would be unhappy with how that looked if it were in my country and if I were on the receiving end of it.
You think intentional communities shouldn't be able to associate how they like?
Not on the basis of race.
And the Arkansas State Attorney General told us, "This is the first I've heard of these allegations. Racial discrimination has no place in Arkansas or anywhere in a free society. These allegations raise all sorts of legal issues, including constitutional concerns. My office is reviewing the matter." This is how members of Return to the Land often spend their evenings, around the campfire. It's not especially kumbaya when it's about keeping other races out.
You can splice this into the shots for your reviews. When somebody says something like a little bit like racist, just like
spicy.
switch to the gasoline blowing up on the fire.
The bulldozer isn't just a novel way to build a fire. It's also a reminder that this group's ambitions extend far beyond cozy get-togethers in the hills.
I think Scott's bringing more wood over. Yeah, we might want to overall
The conditions and materials for that to happen, the politics and the technology, have been on hand for some time now. And once set alight, who knows how fiercely it will burn and who the flames will touch.
They're building a fortress for the white race in the Ozark Mountains in Arkansas. It's called Return to the Land, probably because their neighbor already took the name KKK. Their rules, no gays, no Jews, no non-whites. See, they needed to be able to control who their neighbors were. And apparently the town where they've settled, Ravenden, was just too diverse at 94% white. So they needed to build their own white town. As if the Ozarks themselves aren't white enough for these people. Most of y'all probably haven't been there. I've been there a lot. It's a very white place. Their idea of diversity is a Chinese restaurant that serves shitty dim sum and a Taekwondo studio that's in the back of someone's house. Apparently they have to have their own white town because if you don't have rules against it, anyone of any race could be your neighbor. These people aren't even from the Ozarks. They've migrated there, which is actually my favorite part of this. They have no clue what actual subsistence farming looks like. They're cosplaying trad lifestyle, traipsing around in flowy dresses, watching their husbands work with state-of-the-art equipment while they pretend to be pioneers. In reality, all they're doing is running away from people who have different ideas than them.
My name's Nikki, N-I-K-I. I'm 32. I'm a lady.
This is Return to the Land, a group of millennials who organised online to build something radical and controversial. A town for white people only, that they insist is completely legal. We spent several days with them, watching as the men set about the physical labour of building out the site. All the while, the women of the group took on the more typically trad, homesteading type roles.
I guess I found the people through Twitter that ended up starting this project, actually spearheading it. And I went out to the first April event last year, and it was really fun.
The sort of white-only aspect of this, how important is that to you guys?
Given the premise that it's something that is kind of off limits for whites but is okay by implication for other groups, I do feel it's necessary to carve that out, and you kind of have to do it yourself.
It's kind of like if we don't do this, the laws are only getting worse as far as freedom of association goes. So it's kind of like we have to do this, or there might come a time where it's not possible to.
Are you guys aware sort of people are going to be watching, it's going to be controversial?
I think people just have a large misunderstanding of what's happening here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's the biggest misunderstanding?
Well,
that we hate everyone else. Like,
yeah.
It's not about that by any means.
It's a loving movement.
I mean, on that aspect of it being loving, I suppose the counter argument would be it could be a very loving community if you're part of the community, but if you're black, or if you're Jewish, or if you're gay, you can't be part of that community.
They can have their own communities, and they already do, and I think that's great for them. And it's like if other people are allowed to do it, I don't really see why whites aren't allowed to do it. It doesn't make any sense. So it's important for me to do this for my ancestors, my friends, my family, my children, my children's children.
The leader, Eric Orwell, wants the community to grow. and further what he calls traditional white American culture. And the group is explicit about this. It has an online fundraiser to give cash rewards to parents of newborns as a means to incentivize population growth. Just before we arrived, they donated $1,000 to a family for having their 6th child.
Is that part of the mission as well, to sort of have big families, to make the community bigger? Is there a sort of pressure there?
I don't feel particularly myself, I don't feel any pressure to like have a big family. I think there's a kind of expectation here that you do want to, as part of helping grow this thing, that you're going to have kids. Has everyone seen that community that's being built in America where they are only accepting white Americans into their community that they're building? And recently Sky News went over and actually interviewed these people and asked them what they were basing it off of, basically. And they said that it was just a community of people with similar ancestry to each other. I have another word for this, it's called a sundown town. And also, let's not forget to mention that the double standards are insane, because if this was the other way around and any other race was having a community and wasn't letting white people in, the outrage and the public uproar that would occur is, you can only imagine. This group said in their interview that the community was about freedom and just a community. However, it is nothing other than organised hate. The fact that this is also legal and does not fall under any regulation of discrimination and simply racism is absurd to me, but also not even slightly shocking considering the current state of the USA. And people say that the far right aren't racist or xenophobic or sexist or whatever, but then full on build a community based off race and segregate people based off race. It is genuinely very, very scary times, and the fact that this is accepted, disgraceful. Yesterday I posted a video talking about the white-only community that is being built in Arkansas in the USA. It is basically a white supremacist group where they will only allow someone to join their community if they are white. In response to that video, I've had some very, very dense comments saying, I don't see the problem with this, what's the problem? Like, there's literally countries that are fully one race. If you simply can't comprehend the problem with racial segregation in the modern day USA, then there is simply nothing that anyone can try and educate you on for you to understand basic thinking. But also the difference between a community being built on force and discrimination, as in you are not allowed to enter if you're a certain race, as opposed to a community that is naturally just more statistically higher in a certain race than the other, but that doesn't mean you're not allowed to enter if you're another one as opposed to that, which is what you used as an example in the comment. Just the fact that someone cannot comprehend the difference between them is also just really telling of their lack of intelligence, really. And I also just wanted to make this video to again address this problem. There is a white supremacist group in the USA building a white-only community. Let that sink in.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, Africans. I hope you're faring well where you are, and if you're not faring well, please fare well where you are. So, you understand that racial conflict is very common in America, and racial conflict is something which can be synonymous to the black experience in America. When we discuss topics of black experience, one theme tends to arise, and many discussions share this specific theme, and the theme is always the theme of racial conflict in the United States of America. What if I told you that we have something which is coming out, or maybe something that already come out right now? It is in its full-blown stage, whereby it's now showing the symptoms, and people are not hiding it anymore, right? So we have a specific town, or rather a county, or rather a state in the US. It's called Missouri. Missouri state has, I think there's a town or a region called Ozark, right? This Ozark region is home to very, very nasty people, people who are white supremacist, right? Ozark is a region known for having these white supremacists. It's a region known to have the Nazi people, right? If you know the Nazi people are the people in the ancient Germany with the guy with the mustache, right? Yeah. So this space called Ozark is a region which is having a very high concentration of these white supremacists, right? And now they are not hiding it anymore, right? They are coming up front and they are saying that they are building a community of whites only, right? They don't want anyone other than white in that region, right? The United States of America boasts of having democracy. The United States of America boasts of having the world's best policies, right? And right now we are having Ozark, and the Ozarkians are coming up front and they say that they're creating a white-only community. What does it mean to have a white-only community? This is a community, or rather this is a conversation that leads most often to very nasty things, right? And we've seen this thing in a country in Africa, the country South Africa. We saw white-only groups, right? We saw apartheid. Apartheid was a segregation based on skin color. The same thing which is happening in the US right now, right? So white people came up front. They are sharing their thoughts about Ozark. I want us to listen to the white people, they themselves. Let's listen to what these white people think of the white supremacist. I'm telling you, it's going to be so much interesting. Now, without further ado, let's dive in, listen to the white people think of their fellow white people who live in Ozark and who think that white people are endangered. Why it is important they have their own community. So without further ado, let's dive in, and where I shall also share with you my deep critical analysis. Let's dive in.
Did Missouri just travel back to the 1950s? Well, this is Trump's America, so probably. According to new reports, a whites-only community could be coming to Missouri, with one already established in Arkansas. A man by the name of John Wesley Norton is trying to build what he calls a conservative, Christian, whites-only community outside of Springfield, Missouri. He says this community is for like-minded people. Let's be real, that means racists and segregation. This is in no way about values, this is about exclusion. It's about resurrecting white supremacy under the guise of freedom of association. And Missouri officials, they're silent, as you'd expect. They say nothing illegal is going on and it's private land. Since when did racism need a permit? If you're more upset about people protesting over the human rights violations of immigrants right now than you are about the resurrection of Jim Crow, then you're the problem. This isn't just a Missouri issue, this is a warning. Racism is alive and well, and it's buying land and building fences.
This is so wild and disturbing. There is a whites-only community being built in the Ozarks. I'm really disturbed. This seems like a reintroduction to segregation. So this community is located on 160 acres of land. It is called Return to the Land. There's about 40 people living on it right now. This includes people of law enforcement and federal agents. Nobody except for whites are allowed on this community compound. You also can't be gay or Jewish. And it is run by this guy right here, Eric Orwell. It's cut off at the top, but he is quoted as saying, "You want a white nation? Create a white town." It can be done, and we're doing it. It says over the last year and a half that they have been building this, what I'm going to call a compound. This movement started organizing online. In an interview with Sky News, this information was found out. I feel like I can't say that, but there were those in references on a public chat in Telegram. There was also 14 words, including and referring to this. And he seems to even go on and support Hitler. Let me show you a little video.
We've done here is establish a place where we have control over who our neighbors are, and that is just for the sake of preserving, our culture.
And that culture, effectively, we're saying this is a white culture, a whites-only place.
White American culture. Yeah, not just white, but white American.
But what this sounds like is bringing back segregation. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, I mean, it's free association. So we're not trying to keep other people down. This is a small settlement in the middle of the Ozarks.
But they are being kept out.
You don't let everyone into your home.
This is their symbol. Eric insists that what they're doing is entirely legal. He says it's a private club, so it's exempt from equality legislation. And just so you know, there are plans to expand this in other areas. I thought I'd leave you guys with just a little more information that you're probably going to want to pause and read from Eric Orwell. You guys, this is so wild and disturbing. There is a whites-only community.
A whites-only community could be coming to Missouri in 2025, and yes, you are hearing me correctly. An actual group called Return to the Land is trying to build a segregated whites-only town near Springfield, Missouri. And this isn't parody, and this is not satire. This is happening in America right now. The founder says that they want to return to their roots. But come on, guys, let's be real. This isn't about heritage. This is about hate. This is about building a safe space for white supremacy under the guise of community. And what's even more disturbing, these people feel so fucking emboldened these days that they're not even hiding it anymore. They're openly promoting racial segregation like it's normal, like this country didn't literally fight an actual civil war to end this bullshit. This is what happens when politicians feed the lie that diversity is the problem. This is what happens when you have people in power pushing the idea that America was better when it was whiter. They want to isolate, they want to indoctrinate, they want to raise their kids in a world where no one challenges their racism, their ignorance, or their twisted version of history. So, here's the question. How in the hell are we letting this happen in broad daylight? Where are the zoning boards? Where are the civil rights investigations? And where is the national outrage? Because if they succeed here, this won't be the last. It'll literally be the blueprint. We are watching the normalization of white nationalism one community at a time. And if you're not disturbed by that, you're either racist yourself or you're just not paying.
What we've done here is establish a place where we have control over who our neighbors are, and that is just for the sake of preserving, our culture.
And that culture, effectively, we're saying this is a white culture, a whites-only place.
White American culture.
Over the last year and a half, high up in the Ozark Hills in the state of Arkansas, dozens of people have been working hard, leveling the land, building houses. They call it an intentional community based around shared ancestry, a long-winded way of saying something really quite simple.
I think we would generally be called far right, sure.
It's called Return to the Land, and they invited me in.
A lot of people are going to be, why are you making Nazi references?
Right. Well, why wouldn't I?
A seemingly bucolic and sometimes surreal experience, one with strong ties to the most active far-right groups in the US. Instead of taking to the streets, they are building their own, for generations to come.
It's important for me to do this for my ancestors, my friends, my family, my children, my children's children.
We're so beyond cooked, dog. We are fried at the point where white people are creating their own little KKK town. Know what you think? Leave a comment down below. Make sure you follow me for news updates like this.
Now, it is very disturbing listening to all these, considering myself as a black person. Would I really feel safe going to the land of Ozark, right? As a black person? Do you even feel safe when you get there? This is a question that I believe many of us are asking in their mind, right? Because we also have another town in South Africa called Orania. Orania is a whites-only town owned by Afrikaners. Yeah, so blacks are not allowed over there, but it's in Africa, right? It's only a white-only town. So blacks really don't feel safe over there. So Ozark as well, I think, shares the same properties as Orania. But here's one thing. Ozark we don't have evidence that Ozark in itself is a country that poses a threat to black people and to some other minorities, right? It is not a threat to peace in the USA. So that is what I know. So far, that is what they say, right? But as a seed grows until it becomes a tree, it takes time, right? It takes time for everything to blossom because time heals all wounds, right? If you want to do away with something, it's better to do away with it at the earliest stages possible, right? So I want us to dive into a little bit of history based on what we've had. Let's dive into a little bit of history about Ozark, right? So Ozark is found in Missouri State, a small town located in Christian County in the southwestern part of the state. It is emblematic of many rural American communities, right? It's known for its proximity to the scenic Ozark Mountains and the booming tourism industry in nearby Branson. Ozark has historically been a quiet and conservative town. However, like many towns across the US, it is not immune to the undercurrents of racial tension, political polarization, and social inequality. While it may be an overstatement to label Ozark itself a threat to peace, right, or inherently hostile to black people, we need to understand what brought about why we might think it is a threat to peace of the minorities. So the country itself has a population of 90% white. 90% white. Come on. Black residents make up a very small fraction of the community. This demographic homogeneity is not unusual in Midwest and southern parts of America, USA, where patterns of segregation, right, both de jure and de facto, have shaped population distribution for decades. Historical factors such as redlining, discriminatory policing, and limited economic opportunity for minorities have contributed to these trends. In towns like Ozark, the lack of diversity can sometimes lead to social environment where outsiders, particularly black people or black Americans, may feel unwelcomed or underrepresented. This is not always due to overt racism, but it can stem out of systemic exclusion and lack of awareness or exposure. You see, we have racial tension and symbolism in Ozark as well, In the past, controversies surrounding Confederate flags, racial profiling, and policing have risen in small towns across Missouri, including those near Ozark. Ozark itself has not been the site of high-profile national incidents. It reflects the cultural tension seen in nearby regions, such as Ferguson in Missouri, right? Where the 2014 shooting of Michael Brown, national protest and re-examination of race policing in America. In towns with limited diversity, the presence of symbols associated with white supremacy, like the Confederate flags, or the lack of representation in schools, government, and law enforcement can create an environment that feels exclusionary to people of color. These conditions may not cause immediate violence, but they can undermine cohesion and peace in more subtle, long-term ways, right? And now here we discover that from what has been told to us by the video itself, these people, white people, are really not so much excited by what these other white people are doing in Missouri, where Ozark, right? There's so much, you can see they're not happy about it, right? And this tells you that in as much as we have Ozark, right? And in as much as we have these people who believe in the Nazi theories and these people who believe in white supremacy, right? they don't share the same ideologies as everyone, right? So here is the part where we say we can't put all eggs in one bucket, right? Some of these eggs are rotten, so we can't mix good eggs and bad eggs. That is not what we do. If you want good outcome, you don't mix bad and good. You pluck the chaff from the wheat and you leave the wheat itself as pure as it is, right? Yeah, my thoughts are it is wrong. It is wrong to divide a country. It's very, very problematic. In the end, it will cause chaos. Right now, people might argue that this is not a threat to peace. But when left unchecked, it will become a problem in the near future. Yes, that is my thought. I want you to share with me your thought as well. Yes, on the comment section. Share your thoughts, what you think about Ozark and this white community that is being built over there. Right. I'd really love to hear from you. Yes. So, you like what I do, subscribe, donate on Patreon. I'll surely appreciate. Thank you a lot for those who have donated. I really, really appreciate. Yes, and see you in the next one.
What we've done here is establish a place where we have control over who our neighbors are, and that is just for the sake of preserving, our culture.
And that culture, effectively, we're saying this is a white culture, a whites-only place.
White American culture.
Over the last year and a half, high up in the Ozark Hills in the state of Arkansas, dozens of people have been working hard, leveling the land, building houses. They call it an intentional community based around shared ancestry. Instead of taking to the streets, they are building their own, for generations to come.
It's important for me to do this for my ancestors, my friends, my family, my children, my children's children.
We're so beyond cooked, dog. We are fraught at the point where white people are creating their own little KKK town.
So they're doing a whites-only community in Arkansas and the fucking Ozarks. A whites-only community in Arkansas. This is where we're at in America today. What the f do you mean you don't want to be around people that look like me? Us brown people are fuck cool as hell. Positive vibes, good food, beautiful people. What the f do you mean you guys want to live in a whites-only community in fucking America in the year 2025? How racist do you have to be to want to live in a whites-only community? I mean, I don't know if it's just me, but even if I was white, that sounds lame as fuck. I would never want to do some shit like that.
Hi guys, welcome to today's video. It's Ndagre here. Thanks for clicking on today's video. This is something that a lot of you guys have been tagging me in because it's actually happening and it's insane. So Pan people are separating themselves from the rest of the world, or literally from the rest of people that do not look like them, and they are trying to create, or as they say, going back to the roots, which roots I do not understand, because even on the lands that they are saying they are going back to on those roots, that land is not for them, it's for the Native Americans. But hey, clearly they do not see that. They do not see that they are on people's land, but then they want to separate themselves and, yeah, like I say, go back to their roots, and they are starting to segregate themselves, starting to create their own communities for only Pan people. There's something that we actually see in South Africa where we have Orania, where Pan people came onto African people's land and decided like, hey, wait, we are on black people's land, but let's create a place just for us, just for us to be able to control everything, have our own currency, have our own rules and regulations, everything to be in our control on someone's land. It's the same thing they are doing right now in America, because the land of America does not belong to Pan people. It is for the Native Americans. Their land is in Europe, but they do not want to accept that. And I mean, this is raising a lot of conversations amongst people. In today's video, I'll be showing you a lot of black people's reactions onto this whole situation, and the way they're responding is really what is making me laugh about the whole situation, because my people can really be unserious sometimes. And this is not even something to be laughing about or to be funny about. I feel like it's really disgusting to see in 2025, but hey, we are receiving it and seeing it come from a people that have always invaded other people's lands, always done the most to other people, always, tried to, or not even tried, always did the most horrific kind of things to other groups of people on lands that are not even theirs. That's the most insane part for me that always gets to me. But hey, listen to what a lot of black people and even some of their own are saying about this. Come back, let me know your thoughts on it.
Black folks, let's talk real quick. White people, y'all can stay too if you want to. But black folks, let's talk. It's been an uptick in racism since Trump. Y'all know that. Y'all know. Y'all seen that they building a whites only town. I want to say it's in Ozark or something like that. Missouri. Is Ozark in Missouri? I don't know. Only Ozark I know is the Netflix show. I never heard of Ozark before that. But they building a whites only town. And it's a white creator on here. I'm going to post his picture. He was so flabbergasted. Oh, it's 2025. We shouldn't be doing that. Yes, the fuck they should. Please build more. Please build more. Let us know who you are. Because I want to know that I don't need to fuck with you. Build more. Move there. Because our ancestors built this shit. I ain't going nowhere. I promise you that. I ain't going no fucking where. I'm going to go and visit other places. But me and my black ass children, we're going to be right here in these United States. So please move to your whites only town. Baby, stay there. They're also building a whites only restaurant. Please have at it. Please fix your mayo and salt and pepper. Baby, cook your food. We don't want it. And I don't want you spitting in my food because you don't like the color of my skin. I don't want you working at a restaurant that I will patronize. So please do it. The lady who walked into the urology doctor and the doctor had that tacky ass big Trump flag on the wall. I'm going to put a picture of that too. Baby, you seen what you needed to see. Get the fuck out of there and go to another one. You feel me? It's so many black people and minorities die at the hands of racist doctors who put on this fake mask, this fake facade, like they are okay with us and they're not. I don't care what y'all try to say. Black people has been saying for years that motherfuckers is racist. When are you going to start listening? People is racist before Trump. People have been racist before fucking Trump. It is not new. They're just more bold now, and I appreciate them for that. Baby, come on out. Come on out. And I know I get on here with my bonnets and stuff. But when I step outside that door, I don't look like where I come from, okay? But best believe I will cuss you the fuck out. I don't look like I will pop the fuck off, but I will. And it surprised people every single time. I don't fuck around with no Karens. I never will. And I thank God. God knows what I can bear because I have never encountered a Karen. I will pop the fuck off. I'm not accepting shit from nobody. I'm saying all this to say is let motherfuckers show us who they are. It's okay. And I want to say also that black people were at their best when we were segregated. Just think about how strong our dollar is today. If we would have kept that dollar in our black communities and patronized black spaces only, you know how wealthy we would be? If white people did not get jealous and bomb our cities when we were thriving. Like, when you start thinking about shit real hard, it's kind of truly fucked up that you hated us so fucking much. You ate us, killed us off, fed our kids to crocs and alligators, and now we can't even just live and exist. You mean to tell me you mad because I'm breathing, yo? Fuck you. Like, really and sincerely, fuck y'all.
I really wonder if these people really know what their ancestors did, that they went onto other people's lands, stole people from those lands, brought them to other lands, used people's labor for free, literally human labor for free. So who should be segregating themselves from the other? Should it be the Palm people or it should be the people that were invaded by the Palm people? That's where the question should be. And also, them saying preserving their culture or heritage or whatever they are talking about. Which culture? Because the culture that mostly history talks about with them is being barbaric to other groups of people, doing segregation, doing racism, like literally treating other human beings like animals. Is that their culture they're trying to talk about or talking about? Because really, we don't know any other culture that these people really can have and really show to us that they have, because they've always been stealing from other people.
Did you see the video where this guy said they're putting up whites only signs at establishments in Missouri? But then I saw another video about it and people were pissed and I'm like, why? You have a problem with it because it's in your face and it's not behind closed doors, but that's the very establishment that you're spending your money with. I immediately was like, man, that's great. Like, do that. This is not the 1800s. There is so much available to us out there to where I don't want to spend my money or patron any establishment that don't want me there. I don't want my children walking into an establishment where the cops get called on them because they got to cuss out and go off on somebody who's a racist. When they put that sign up, their business is going to fold. And now your racist ass ways is hurting your pockets, which makes me happy. That's like me going to that club that be turned up with all those theater kids singing musicals, but then I bring my friend who only like trap music. Nobody asked you to come. We told you ahead of time what it was, so why are you here? We are now a society of people that protect our peace. And if you don't want us around you, go hang out with your buddies. We don't care.
A whites-only community could be coming to Missouri in 2025, and yes, you are hearing me correctly. An actual group called Return to the Land is trying to build a segregated whites-only town near Springfield, Missouri. And this isn't parody, and this is not satire. This is happening in America right now. The founder says that they want to return to their roots, but come on, guys, let's be real. This isn't about heritage. This is about hate. This is about building a safe space for white supremacy under the guise of community. And what's even more disturbing, these people feel so fucking emboldened these days that they're not even hiding it anymore. They're openly promoting racial segregation like it's normal, like this country didn't literally fight an actual civil war to end this bullshit. This is what happens when politicians feed the lie that diversity is the problem. This is what happens when you have people in power pushing the idea that America was better when it was whiter. They want to isolate, they want to indoctrinate, they want to raise their kids in a world where no one challenges their racism, their ignorance, or their twisted version of history. So, here's the question. How in the hell are we letting this happen in broad daylight? Where are the zoning boards? Where are the civil rights investigations? And where is the national outrage? Because if they succeed here, this won't be the last. It'll literally be the blueprint. We are watching the normalization of white nationalism one community at a time. And if you're not disturbed by that, you're either racist yourself or you're just not paying attention.
They saying they're returning to a land that they're not native to. Be each their own. I think it's a great thing. I think that as long as they are in probably an unincorporated part of the town or state, whatever county, they have their own resources. You're not using any federal money, not using any state assistance. These are a bunch of people using their own private money to create their little enclave, whatever. I'd rather you tell me where you stand overtly than do it covert.
Some of y'all may be hearing about these white-only communities trying to pop up and start something in Missouri, and I can see the rebuttals now saying, well, don't black people have black-only facilities like HBCUs? No, these are historically black universities. People can come up there whenever they want. White, black, Hispanic, whoever can come to a HBCU because it's inclusive. You say, well, what about a black-owned business? Can only black people shop there? No, anyone can shop there because it's inclusive, not discriminatory. Actually, it's always been about inclusion, and all good things have only come from diversity, equity, and inclusion, not discrimination and exclusion. Don't know what to tell you.
There are whites only signs being erected in Missouri, the Ozarks. And I guess I'm wondering, like, why are we surprised? Why are we surprised? Here's my thing. Apparently it's this community called For the Land or something like that. And they plan to go across all 50 states, creating white only communities where nobody else, like no other kind of people can come in. And they can have their own rules and be completely purebred for their ancestors and stuff. And here's my thing. That's fine. I actually would prefer if all the racist people were to go live in the woods away from, but here's the issue. When black communities come together, Black Tulsa, when black communities come together and they actually start doing something, they actually succeed and get somewhere, it's always taken away, burned to the ground. Lake Lanier, hello? That's my thing. And it frustrates me when it comes to the black community as well. It's like, we still can't bring our businesses, like our wealthy black businesses, back to the hood. Y'all ask black people, why don't you bring your businesses back to the hood? It's so much deeper than that. Like, we have been so programmed that we don't even help each other anymore. And this is just truth. This is just fact, y'all. I can only speak on my community because I don't know anything else about any other community. Y'all tell me. But that is what I've noticed about the black community. I think that we don't actually believe that we can be something. We can be a force to be reckoned with. We individually have our own thoughts, yes, about what we could be, but I don't think as a collective we have come together yet and really admitted to ourselves that we can be better than what we are. I recently heard about this theory, right? It's called the flea theory. Let me show y'all. So basically, They got a generation of fleas and they put them in an open canister with the lid off. And the fleas would jump out. They'd escape. And then as they kept on breeding the fleas and the generations kept on going, with the second one, they would put the lid right here. Let's just say at the top. And they started, and when they hit the top, that third generation only jumped to the top. Then they lowered it. By the fourth generation, they were only jumping to where they put the lid, even when the lid was off. Now, once the fifth generation came along, they left it completely open, and none of the generations jumped past that limit that they did with the fourth. Are you catching what I'm putting down? It gets to a point that you're made to believe for so long that you are nothing, and you can be nothing, you can accomplish nothing, that you start to really actually be that and believe that. So I guess what I'm saying is, like, it's really sad that racists can come together and do more for their community than we can as Black people. And I feel like we have to do better. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, so in a nutshell, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised about the white community thing. I didn't even bat an eye, to be honest. Ugh, baby, I live in the South.
The folks building up that white-only community in Missouri are very funny, because if you know your history, you'll realize that it's going to collapse upon itself. It's going to fail. And I really feel like they're going to notice that it's failing whenever Becky's trying to make burrito tacos and she's really fucking it up. And they'll find somebody else to blame at the end of the day, because these people have insane egos and are just extremely racist. Like, the thought of maybe my ignorance and my stupidity led to this failure is too much for them. They can't compute it, because for centuries they've been telling themselves that they're better than because of the color of their skin, because they're white, they're pure, they're God's gift to earth, you know what I mean? And their whole existence depends upon having their ego stroked by society. And if you don't stroke their ego, they're going to lash out, they're going to wild out. Like, and it's because they don't have any kind of culture. They don't have anything to really cling to besides whiteness, because a lot of white people have lost their culture as a result of coming over here from Europe. And because they lost their culture, lost their heritage, they're always trying to infiltrate Black and brown communities and take what they can and bring it back to them, you know what I mean? Because it's like they see that our communities are built on love and care for one another. And white supremacy doesn't allow for that. It drives for individualism. It drives for you not to care about anybody but yourself, because you're trying to reach a level of white supremacy that'll allow you to not give a fuck about anybody, that'll allow you to be extremely superior. White supremacy doesn't just mean supremacy over Black and brown folks. It's supremacy over other white people as well. Because capitalism is one of the things that really holds up white supremacy and allows it to function and run rampant.
Segregation is back in the United States because now white-only and straight-only towns are popping up across the country, and the government is allowing it. In Arkansas, there was a town that was started by about 50 millennials with their children that they call Return to the Land, which is fucking wild. Not a single thought was put into this name, because if they were really returning to the land, they'd be going back to Europe. But that's not the only crazy thing. They're claiming that they're doing this for their children because they want them to be raised with white, straight Christian values. What the fuck is that? Not only that, like, it gets better. You don't think it can, but it can. They were interviewed and asked why they don't let other groups in. And they said explicitly, it's not because we hate other people. It's because we love each other so much. What the fuck? These people are fucking insane. And not only that, they have so many supporters across the country. So many. They set up a GoFundMe, and anytime there is a new kid born in this settlement, they get thousands of dollars from this GoFundMe. If you haven't seen this yet, you need to look it up, because this is wild.
As you've seen in the video, that is what my people are saying, and I feel like they are right. You know, I think it's good for someone to really show who they truly are, so you can know who to go to, who to run to, and who to distance yourself from. And I'm like, if they want to separate themselves, clearly, probably they should. And they should even do it in big numbers, because I feel like in 2025, most of the people, especially people of color, black people, we are so done when it comes to the entitlement of these people. So them bringing back the systems their ancestors did to separate themselves from the rest, but they invaded those same people, is looking as wild and insane. But I think it's good that they should stay for themselves and by themselves and see if it's even possible for them to sustain themselves. Because I mean, looking into history, they've never built anything on their own. They've never done anything and accomplished anything without the help of black people, of people of color, minority groups as they call them, the ones that they are trying to run away from. It's like guys, this is crazy. Do that. Show us who you truly are. Like, we want to see that. We've always been talking about it and you've been denying it. You have a man that is letting you do this, and I mean the government is letting this happen. So clearly you are truly showing us who you truly are. So let us know where you are so we can cross a boundary, actually abide by that boundary, so that you stay, build yourselves, and we can also handle ourselves like on the other side. But we are going to wait and see how you're going to survive, if it's even going to last. That's what my people are saying, and I'm here for it. I actually support that. Like, really, let them do that. Let them show us who they truly are. Enough with the gaslighting, enough with the pretense. This is who they are. Not saying like all of them are, because some are calling them out. Like, I've seen countless videos of their own as spammed, like shocked, flabbergasted, like full of frustration on why this keeps happening, even in 2025 today. Like, these are the times where everybody is like educated and has sense. We think people have sense, but clearly they don't. And even themselves, they are in shock on how their own can really show ignorance at this point in time. Like, it's insane and wild. Insane and wild. But yeah, guys, that is it for me in today's video. Let me know what you think about this also. Like, are you okay with this? Like, do you support them to do this? Or, I mean, we should stick for the people and stop with the segregation and stop with this. The same people that were always putting signs of no blacks in toilets together with the palmed benches separated. Like, they are literally going back to that time. And I'm just also wondering, like, is it even going to work out? That's where my betting is, literally. Is it going to work out the way they are starting it? Or they are just going to really, I think they are really sinking their ship of America every day. Every day, they are really showing the world on what America is truly about. Not even America, but like what Palm people are truly about. And that ship is sinking every day with a lot of hate from other people. So, interesting times. Interesting times. Guys, that is it for me in today's video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell I'm always posting. I will see you guys in another video. Bye.
Parents, please come to the front because I need your attention right now. This predator, he is a high school coach, and his name is Aaron Peter Lakoti, and he is 37 years old, and he was just sentenced for making out with a 16-year-old child. And I'm sure you're wondering, well, what was Aaron's punishment for being a 37-year-old man making out with a 16-year-old child? Well, his punishment was $53. That's the going rate for grooming and making out with your daughter nowadays. $53. Oh, and he had to write an apology letter. So the court said, you know what's in the best interest of this minor? For you to contact her via letter. This is not justice. This is a system saying that our child's safety is not worth more than a tank of gas. We're seeing it all throughout the American culture right now. Grown adults grooming and harming children with no punishment. This man was supposed to be a trusted adult. You gave your most precious gifts to this man, and he groomed at least one of them. And here is the part that no one wants to say out loud, but I am going to. Sexual predators are not always creepy men in vans. They are your bosses. They are your coaches. They are your teachers, your doctors, your plumbers, your electricians, your tree trimmers. They live in any profession possible. And you, parents, need to start opening your eyeballs to the signs and signals that your child could possibly give you to protect them. Possible signs and symptoms that your child is being groomed could be nervousness, anxiousness, withdrawal from family and friends, removing themselves from sports, receiving gifts and money and clothes that you did not buy your child. If your child talks about someone older that just gets them, that's a red flag. Your child gets defensive when you ask to see their phone or messages in regards to a certain older person. That is a red flag. Teachers should not be communicating with children online. Period. End of statement. You need to ask questions, be present, and speak up, because predators like Aaron are looking for parents that are too busy, too polite, or too withdrawn to even notice that they are grooming your child. Anyway, $53 is the going rate for making out with a child nowadays. Have a great night.